Along the border between the United States and Mexico flows a river that has quietly become one of the most contested corridors in North America. The Rio Grande stretches for nearly 1,900 miles, forming a natural boundary between the two nations. But in many places, this river is not just a border. It's a highway, a route used by criminal organizations to move drugs, weapons, and sometimes people. According to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, Mexican drug cartels control the vast majority of illegal drug trafficking entering the United States. And along the Rio Grande, even the smallest pieces of land can become strategic assets, small islands hidden in the river, places where smugglers can wait, hide, and operate out of sight. But recently, one of those islands became the target of a law enforcement raid led by the Texas Rangers. The geography of the Rio Grande creates hundreds of small islands and sandbars scattered along the river. Most of them are isolated, covered with thick brush, and extremely difficult to monitor. For cartel smugglers, these locations offer several advantages. They can serve as temporary staging areas, places to store supplies, or locations where smugglers can wait quietly for patrol units to pass. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, authorities seized more than 27,000 pounds of fentanyl in 2023 alone along the southern border. To understand how significant that is, just 2 milligrams of fentanyl can be deadly. That means the fentanyl seized in a single year could potentially represent billions of lethal doses. Much of this illegal traffic moves through complex routes, rivers, desert trails, remote highways, hidden crossing points, and islands in the Rio Grande can become critical nodes in that network. The Texas Rangers are one of the most famous law enforcement units in American history. Their origins date back to 1823. That makes them more than 2 centuries old. Today, the Rangers operate under the Texas Department of Public Safety. Their mission focuses on complex criminal investigations, organized crime, violent offenders, public corruption, and border security operations. Despite their reputation, the force is actually quite small. There are fewer than 200 active Texas Rangers statewide, but when major criminal investigations arise, they are often called in. And when intelligence reports suggested cartel activity on a remote island along the Rio Grande, the Rangers were deployed. Border operations like this require careful planning. Before any raid takes place, law enforcement agencies gather intelligence. Surveillance teams monitor activity patterns. Aerial units track movements along the river. Investigators analyze smuggling routes used by criminal networks. Authorities must understand several key risks: how many suspects might be present, whether they could be armed, and whether the location is actively being used for smuggling operations. Because Mexican cartels are among the most powerful criminal organizations in the world. Groups like the Sinaloa Cartel and the Jalisco New Generation Cartel operate trafficking networks that span multiple continents. These organizations generate tens of billions of dollars each year through drug trafficking alone. When dealing with organizations of that scale, even a small island raid requires precision. Early in the operation, law enforcement teams moved toward the island by boat. Patrol vessels cut quietly through the river. As officers approached the target area, the objective was simple: secure the island quickly and determine whether cartel operatives were using it as a staging point. Once on land, officers began moving carefully through thick vegetation. The terrain was dense, but investigators were trained to recognize the signs. Even small details can reveal how smugglers use these locations. Authorities have previously discovered equipment such as radios, backpacks, satellite phones, and GPS devices used to coordinate illegal crossings. During the search, officers documented clear signs that the island had been used as a temporary staging area. Locations like this allow smugglers to remain hidden while waiting for the right moment to cross the river. Sometimes they wait hours, sometimes days. These islands function as safe zones between patrol routes, but when law enforcement identifies these locations, they can disrupt the entire system. According to federal authorities, coordinated operations across the southern border have resulted in the seizure of tens of billions of dollars worth of illegal drugs over the past decade. Every disrupted route makes smuggling operations more difficult, and every seized shipment weakens the networks that depend on them. The raid on this island is just one example of the ongoing struggle along the US-Mexico border. Criminal organizations constantly adapt. If one route becomes too dangerous, they simply find another. Desert trails, remote highways, hidden river crossings. For law enforcement, protecting nearly 2,000 miles of border is an enormous challenge, but operations like this send a message. Even the most remote locations are not beyond the reach of authorities. And for the Texas Rangers, the mission continues, because along the Rio Grande, even a small island can become the front line in the fight against organized crime.